Well, hey, Accelerated Geography students, you have just finished the FOIO that you see in front of you, where you had a chance to review the 4 types of economic activities. You got a chance to see if these are developed or developing characteristics. Developing, developed, 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 right? And then you got to identify and give an example of the following, along with the differences between a command and market economy. If we're taking a look and reviewing even over our notes last class block, you'll notice the darker the color that's here, the more developed it is. And you'll notice the lighter the color, right? We're talking about a developing country here. So you're going to already see some global trends when you start taking a look at developed and developing countries based off of GDP per capita. In fact, if you're wondering GDP per capita, you can take a look that's here at this map that I'm projecting. You'll notice the countries that are in purple have the highest GDP. The ones that are in red are about the mid-range, and then the ones that are in orange and yellow are developing or have low GDPs per capita. And so you can see the world is structured in those that have it, the Australias, the Europes, the North Americas, versus the ones that are struggling, parts of Asia, the Middle East, and a number of countries in Africa. We'll talk about why, but today, now that you've got some of those definitions that you did last class block, we're going to put these to use with something that we call an almanac entry. And so what I need out is, in your notebook, you've got a new page titling it Almanac Activity. You've copied this for your entire page that's here. And then you also have out the half sheet of paper that looks like this. What we're going to be doing today in class is we're going to be taking a look at an almanac entry. These are usually your books that have all of the information you ever needed to know about a country on one page. And I'm going to give you the skills today to be able to go through this, to be able to look and interpret. And at the end, we're going to be asking this question, looking at our half sheet of paper. Look at the statistics. Is your country developed or developing? And give me 3 statistics, aka 3 chunks, to back this up. And so we're going to model this. I'm going to model this for you using the United States. And so everything that I'm talking you through, I'd like you to write down under the United States part that you've got here. So let's go through our instructions and follow along. I've got number 1 here. It asks me to do this. Anytime I have an almanac entry, I need to list your country's name. So since we're doing the United States of America, we already put it down. Number 1, United States. You can probably already take a guess. We're going to do Pakistan as the next one that you'll be doing with your partner pairs. And then let's look at number 2. We've got to fill in A through K that's here. And so A says this. List your country's GDP per capita. And in parentheses, it says we're going to find this under the finance. Now notice it's got a star next to it, so this is a very, very good indicator if a country is developed or developing. And so I'm going to go to my finance section that I've got here. Finance right here. I'm going to look monetary values. We use the dollar. GDP, okay, $15 trillion, but we want to see it per capita. What does that mean, class? Per person. So we make $49,000 per person. Dang, that is a big GDP. So what I'm going to write here is this. Under A, I'm going to put 49,000 per capita. All right, and so I've got that for A that's there. That's my GDP per capita. I might even maybe want to put GDP per capita. Awesome. All right. Let's go down to the next one. This should all be on one line, by the way, for you. Since these are so big, it's going to go on to 2 or 3 for me, but it should be on one line in your writing. All right, let's look at the next one. Literacy rate, the ability to read and write. Again, these are all definitions from last class block. It's under education this time. So you're going to get the hang of this pretty quick, but if I scroll down all the way to education, compulsory means that it's required for ages 6 to 17, but the literacy rate is 99%. You can probably already do the math. You're probably wondering if it's 99% lit rate. Probably know already. Man, that's a ton of people that can read and write. Let's go down to the next one. The next one is infant mortality. It's going to tell me about my health care, right? So I'm going to look under the health category. I want to know babies. This is from chapter 4, section 2. Infant mortality means death rate. So the death rate for infants, which usually gives us a good indicator about our health statistics that we have. So if I'm taking a look at our health statistics here, let's look. Health, life expectancy, nope. Births, no. Deaths, no. Infant mortality, there it is. 6 infants die per 1,000 live births. So I'm going to put it up here. 6 infants per 1,000 mortality rate. Okay. So 6 infants per 1,000 mortality rate. I can even take out the infants here. 6 per 1,000 infant mortality rate. So that's not bad. I know you're like, whoa, that's terrible, Bayesian. 6 babies die. But compared to other countries that are in the 25, 30 babies per 1,000, 6 is not a bad number. And so it shows that we have pretty decent health care. All right. If it was 0, that means nobody ever died, and that's unrealistic. Let's go to D here. Life expectancy, another health one. And oh, notice, it's another great indicator. This one was about finance. This one was about education. This one's going to tell us a little bit about our health. So our life expectancy, if we're rolling over there for life expectancy, we've got males live to be to the age of 76 and females to the age of 81. Wow, all right. Females live longer than males. Typically, everybody, that is common throughout the entire world. Females, and a lot of people would say, well, wait a second, I thought guys were tougher. No, they're not. Hey, guys, you ever want to try to give birth? I didn't think so. So, with something like this, we're going to write 76 for male and 81 for female. So, let's bring it up here. 76 male, 81 female, haha, life expectancy. All right. Again, 70 to 80 years old is great for an average lifespan. When you start getting into developing countries, you're starting to look at like the 60s and the 50s, which is pretty terrible. Let's go to E. You've probably caught on to what we're doing here at this point, and probably some of you even gone ahead. But telecommunications. Now, what do I do, Bayesian? Telecommunications means the ability to communicate with one another. So I'm going to go to telecommunications or communications here, and I've got TV sets, 844 per 1,000. Radios, 145 per 1,000. Look at the internet. 75% of Americans are online. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one statistic. So let's go TV sets, 844 per 1,000. So I'm going to write this. TV sets, 844 per 1,000. You're probably wondering, well, what does that tell me, Bayesian? Developed or developing? Well, what can we use TVs for? Some of you may be saying, well, hey, that means that they're lazy. No. It means that if there's news that needs to get out or you need information, 844 per 1,000, that means almost everybody in America has a TV, so they're connected in with news. And think about this. Go back to vocabulary terms we've gotten other times. That means, we're globalized, which means that we have probably a developed country on our hands. All right, so I just need one example for the communications part. Let's go to the next part here, population density. Now, we've covered this. It's going to be in the people area, so let's take a look. People, all the way up at top. Population, how many? Age distribution, how many people? And we've looked at that with population pyramids. Here it is, population density, 88 people per square mile. That means it's not the purple color that you've been seeing on your map with 250 people per square mile. This is the one where you have enough space to kind of move around the classroom comfortably. So we're going to put 88 people per square mile population density. That means there's room to move. See, as you notice here, we are getting and collecting a lot of information that's here. And so we're going to be able to answer the question, is it developed or developing? Let's go to G here. G now is going to ask me about my industries. Now this is where you're going to need to do some thinking from last class block, but with industries that are here, this is going to be found in economy. So if I'm going to my economy industries, it says the second largest industrial output in the world: petroleum, steel, motor vehicles, aerospace, telecommunications, chemicals, electronics, food, consumer goods, lumber, and mining. If you go back to your notes last time we did in class, we said a high variety of industries means it's a developed country. Now let's say, for example, that you only have steel and motor vehicles. What happens if the steel industry falls apart? Well, Bajan, that means we only have the motor vehicles. Yeah, that means our economy's cut in 50% in half. Since we have a variety, let's say electronics dies out or food production goes sour, then at least we've got all these other industries to help us out. So what I want to do is I want to write the fact that there's more than like 3 of them there. So I'm going to choose about 3 examples. So let's do chemicals, electronics, and mining. Chemicals, electronics, mining. And we need to say that there's a variety. Okay? That's a good thing. The fact that there's a variety of them makes it a very positive part for this. Now, if there's 1 or 2 of them, you put very few options. Let's go with H, labor force. Okay, another one that you're going to need to use your brain on, and notice it's got a star next to it. This is a huge one for us. Labor force, and we're going to use some of our vocabulary terms that we've done last time in class. If we go to economy, and we scroll all the way down to labor force, it says farming, forestry, and fishing. 0.7. So think back to your definitions last class block. This would be primary. So I'm going to put 0.7 for primary here. So primary equals 0.7% of the economy. Now, you're probably like, okay, Bajan, I got this. We're probably going to also need to do the secondary industries that are here. Well, let's figure out the secondaries here. Secondary says this: labor force. I've got crafts, extraction, transportation. Okay. I've got managerial, professional, sales and office, and other services here. If I'm taking a look at this with the labor force here, manufacturing is right here, which means that makes up 20% of our population. So I'm going to say secondary with manufacturing is 20%. Tertiary, we're going to need to now figure out here. And it might not add up to a complete 100%, but that's okay. So we're going to go here, and we're going to look at sales and office, about 24%. Wow, all right. 24% of the population is there, so 24%. And the last one is quaternary industries. That's our managerial roles. And if I'm looking at this already with our quaternary industries that are here, and I'm going here, quaternary, managerial, professionals, technical, 37%. Ooh-wee, that's some bucks there. So 37%. Whoop. 37%. There we go. So if I'm taking a look at this, everybody, I notice that most of my jobs are in the higher level of the industries here, which probably means it's a developed country. Again, I'm collecting more statistics that are here. Well, hey, we'll finish IJK and explain what number 3 is in the next video, so make sure you ask the sub or the teacher to cue that up. Thanks, everybody.